Andrew from TennisWorld.
And I'm his daughter, Cathleen. Nice t-shirt, Dad.
Thanks. It says, when all else fails, manipulate the data. Sort of like what Enron did. Anyhow, we've got some charts of some of the top ATP players to show you about their tennis careers.
My dad loves charts.
The best place to find rankings information is at the ATP website. The latest rankings information is a click away from the home page. But you also have this tool, which allows you to see rankings for prior weeks or for prior years. I've used these tables to create a rankings database. Then I've built some charts from players' rankings over their careers. Let's take a look. This chart shows how many ATP ranking points Federer and Nadal had in each week from the start of 2000. For each week they were in the top 50. If they weren't in the top 50, the chart shows a 0. One thing I need to mention is that the ATP changed how it awarded ranking points at the start of 2009. These charts are corrected for that change. For example, a player who had 2,000 points in 2005 would show up in today's tables at the ATP site with about 4,000 points. The set of red squares shows Federer's ranking points over time. Federer was a good, but not a great player until early 2003. For example, he qualified for the year-end championships in Shanghai at the end of 2002, but he lost to Hewitt in the semi-final. But from the early part of 2003, you can see his career take off. He won 7 titles that year, including Wimbledon and the year-end championship in Houston. After he won the Australian Open early in 2004, he was the #1 player in the world. Federer had joined the elite of the Open era.
Rafael Nadal's rise came 2 years later, but it was even faster than Federer's. For 3 years, Nadal tracked Federer down. Then, in 2008, he got his man. But as we all know, Nadal has struggled since the Madrid final, and the chart shows how many points he gave up in a year.
We get a different view of Federer's and Nadal's career arcs when we look at how they did at each stage of their lives. When he was a little over the age of 25, Federer reached a rankings peak that is the highest in the Open era. Although you see his ranking points decline over time since that peak, the points Federer earned in the last 3 years have been equalled or exceeded by very few players in the Open era. His consistency over the last 6 years has been breathtaking.
Nadal reached the top much earlier in his career than Federer did. He played for the next 3 years at a very high level. But then his game got even better, and his peak was the second highest level of the Open era. Is his recent decline temporary? I think we'll find out soon.
You can see Novak Djokovic's career take off just before his 20th birthday. A year later, he won the Australian Open, and that summer, he challenged Nadal for the #2 spot. Today, he is #2 in the ATP. But this is because Nadal has come down. Djokovic isn't playing as well as he was 2 years ago.
Andy Murray's breakthrough came in the second half of 2008. He won 2 Masters titles and reached the US Open final. In 2009, some journalists saw Murray as the favourite for the Australian Open. It wasn't to be, and Murray has still to win a major, coming up short once again to Federer this year in Melbourne. And lately he seems to have lost confidence in his game, and you can see the result on this chart. Now we're going to compare Juan Martín del Potro with Nikolai Davydenko, sometimes known as Collier the Obscure.
Some people at TennisWorld call Del Potro the Elf, or the Ent, which reminds me of Lord of the Rings, one of my favorite movies. Both players have had very good results, but neither player has yet cracked the top positions.
2 of the top 8 left. Andy Roddick became world #1 at the end of 2003 and looked like he'd be an elite player for years to come. But Roddick's immovable object in Grand Slams has been Roger Federer. Roddick's lost 4 finals, 3 semis and a quarter-final to his nemesis. And in the last 5 years, Roddick has given way to Nadal, Djokovic and Murray as Federer's strongest challengers.
Robin Soderling completes the top 8. He's still some distance behind the big 4, but they all know he can be a threat on any surface. One interesting chart compares Andy Roddick, a veteran, with the newer star, Novak Djokovic.
Djokovic, like Roddick, enjoyed a meteoric rise in his early 20s. But in the last 2 years, he hasn't built on his early success. When he gets to Roddick's age now, will Djokovic still have only the one major title to his name?
And now we'll compare Roddick with his nemesis, Roger Federer.
As we all know, Federer has won 16 major titles, Roddick just the one. But on a fateful London summer day in 2004, Roddick led his rival in the 3rd set at Wimbledon. Where might their careers have led if the British rain had held off for just 1 more hour? Well, we hope you've got something from a slightly different look at these great players' careers. We'll have more in the coming weeks on what you can learn by looking at former greats. For now,